In the heart of Chicago, where power and prestige rule the streets, a billionaire's empire hides a secret. His name commands respect. His generosity inspires millions. But whispers tell a different story. A hidden truth buried beneath luxury and influence threatens to shatter everything he's built. So one night he vanishes, shedding his identity, trading wealth for obscurity. Disguised as a man society ignores, he steps into his own world, and what he finds changes everything. But when the truth surfaces, it won't just shake his empire, it could destroy him. In the heart of Chicago, where skyscrapers kiss the clouds and the streets buzz with life, Jonathan Hayes was a name that carried weight. A self-made billionaire, Jonathan was the founder and CEO of Hayes Gourmet, a chain of upscale restaurants that had become synonymous with luxury and excellence. But Jonathan wasn't just known for his business acumen. He was celebrated for his philanthropy. He had built shelters for the homeless, funded community programs, and donated millions to education and healthcare initiatives. The media adored him, painting him as a modern-day hero, a man who used his wealth to uplift others. Yet beneath the glittering surface of his success, whispers began to spread. Rumors circulated that Jonathan's kindness was nothing more than a carefully curated facade. Employees at his restaurants claimed they were overworked and underpaid. Customers who didn't fit the elite image were allegedly turned away or treated poorly. Even the shelters he funded were said to be mismanaged, with little regard for the people they were meant to help. The city was divided. Some believed the rumors, while others dismissed them as the jealous mutterings of those who couldn't match Jonathan's success. Jonathan himself was no stranger to these whispers. He had heard them, and they gnawed at him. He prided himself on his integrity and couldn't ignore the allegations. Determined to uncover the truth, he decided to take matters into his own hands. He would go undercover and see for himself how his restaurants were run and how his employees were treated. But to do this, he needed to become someone else entirely. Jonathan spent days meticulously planning his disguise. He traded his tailored suits for worn-out jeans, a faded flannel shirt, and a pair of scuffed boots. He smeared dirt on his face, messed up his hair, and even added a fake scar to his cheek. When he looked in the mirror, he barely recognized himself. He looked like a man down on his luck, someone who had been forgotten by society. One chilly morning, Jonathan walked into one of his restaurants, Hayes Gourmet downtown. The staff barely glanced at him as he shuffled to a corner table. He sat down, his heart pounding. Would they recognize him? Would they see through his disguise? Minutes passed, then an hour. No one came to take his order. Waitresses bustled past him, serving well-dressed customers, but he was invisible to them. Finally, a young waitress approached him. Her name tag read Sophie. She had kind eyes and a warm smile, a stark contrast to the cold indifference of the other staff. "I'm so sorry for the wait," Sophie said, her voice sincere. "What can I get for you?" Before Jonathan could respond, the manager, a tall, stern man named Victor, appeared. "Sophie, what are you doing?" he snapped. "We don't serve his kind here. Tell him to leave." Sophie hesitated, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. "But sir, he's a customer. I'll cover his bill if—" "No," Victor interrupted. "We have standards to maintain. Get him out of here." Jonathan's heart sank. He had heard enough. He stood up, feigning embarrassment. I'll just use the restroom and leave," he mumbled. Victor rolled his eyes but didn't stop him. As Jonathan made his way to the restroom, he passed the kitchen. Through the swinging doors, he saw Sophie crying, her shoulders shaking as she tried to compose herself. A chef was berating her, his voice harsh and cruel. Jonathan clenched his fists but said nothing. He couldn't blow his cover. Not yet. That evening, Jonathan returned to the restaurant, this time as himself. Dressed in a sharp black suit, his hair perfectly styled, he exuded power and authority. The moment he walked in, the staff sprang into action. Victor rushed to greet him, his demeanor completely different from earlier. "Mr. Hayes, what an honor to have you here," Victor gushed. "Everything is running smoothly, just as you'd expect." Jonathan nodded, his expression unreadable. "Good. I'd like to speak with Sophie, the waitress." Victor's smile faltered. "Sophie? She's just a junior staff member. Surely you prefer to speak with me or the head chef." "Bring her to me," Jonathan said, his tone leaving no room for argument. Moments later, Sophie appeared, her eyes wide with fear. "Mr. Hayes, I didn't do anything wrong," she stammered. Jonathan's expression softened. "You're not in trouble, Sophie. In fact, I want to thank you." Sophie blinked in confusion. "Thank me?" Jonathan turned to Victor, his voice cold. "Earlier today, I came here in disguise. I saw how you treated a customer who didn't fit your standards. I saw how you spoke to Sophie, and I saw the conditions in the kitchen." Victor paled. "Mr. Hayes, I can explain." "No," Jonathan interrupted. "You're fired, effective immediately." The restaurant fell silent. Victor stared in shock, then stormed out without another word. Jonathan turned to Sophie. "You showed kindness and integrity when no one else did. That's the kind of leadership this restaurant needs. Starting today, you're the new manager." Sophie's eyes filled with tears. "Me? But I'm just a waitress." "You're more than that," Jonathan said. "You have the heart and the courage to make a difference. I trust you to lead this team." As the days passed, Sophie proved to be an exceptional manager. She implemented changes that improved working conditions, ensured fair treatment for all customers, and brought a sense of unity to the staff. Jonathan visited often, proud of the transformation he had set in motion. But one day, Sophie discovered something unsettling. While reviewing old financial records, she found discrepancies. Large sums of money had been funneled into offshore accounts. She brought this to Jonathan's attention, her hands trembling as she handed him the documents. Jonathan's face darkened as he reviewed the records. "This is Victor's doing," he said. "He's been embezzling funds for years." Sophie gasped. "What do we do?" Jonathan's jaw tightened. "We expose him, but we need evidence." Together, they worked to gather proof of Victor's crimes. It was a risky move, but Jonathan was determined to protect his legacy and the people who depended on him. When they had enough evidence, they confronted Victor, who was now working at a rival restaurant. Victor sneered when he saw them. "You think you can take me down? I have connections, Hayes. You're no match for me." Jonathan smiled coldly. "We'll see about that." The confrontation made headlines. Victor was arrested, and Jonathan's reputation was restored. But the experience left him with a renewed sense of purpose. He realized that true kindness wasn't just about grand gestures. It was about the everyday actions that made a difference in people's lives. With Victor gone and Sophie at the helm, Hayes Gourmet downtown transformed into a place that truly reflected Jonathan's values. Years later, Jonathan's story became a legend in Chicago. His restaurants were not just places to eat, but community hubs where everyone was welcome. And as he looked out over the city he loved, he knew he had done just that. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss more inspiring and thrilling stories. Your opinion matters to us. Let us know in the comments what you would do in a situation like this.